With over 30 seconds left and 18 on the shot clock, Russell Westbrook pulled up from 16 feet and missed. Russ said he was going for a 2-for-1, but that's what you do if you're losing. The Lakers were winning, so Russ is supposed to just dribble out the clock. We see that in every single basketball game. LeBron and AD were so mystified. AD started to go, "What?" while the ball was still in the air. LeBron just turns around like, "Okay." It wasn't J.R. Smith level dumb, but LeBron was having flashbacks. The Blazers were sagging off Russ because he can't shoot. He is 4 for 26, which ties his own record for the worst shooting by a Laker in 2 games. The Lakers are 0-3 and don't even have their own first-round pick, so the media asked LeBron about Russ after the game.
I feel like this is an interview of trying to set me up to say something. You guys can write about Russ and all the things you guys want to try to talk about Russ, but I'm not up here to do that.
But Russ is not that professional, because what he said recently is shocking. I will get to that, but Shams is now reporting the Lakers are targeting one specific player. We'll look at how that trade could work, but we have to get creative. I'm talking out of the box crazy ideas because that's how bad it is. But first, today's video is sponsored by Prize Picks, where we are winning like the Celtics early in the season. Last week, I told you my pick was James Harden over 19.5 points and Stephen Curry. We got the free square, so that was an easy win, right? But if you follow me on social media, I also dropped the pick Harden with over 14 boards and assists and Jason Tatum over 7.5 rebounds. We crushed it. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna be like this every week, obviously, but it is nice. Prize Picks is like daily fantasy, but instead of competing against other people, it's just you against the projections. So let me show you how it works. I open my Prize Picks app, I go over to NBA or any other sport if you want. You can pick points, rebounds, assists, a bunch of different things. My new strategy is to keep it just like fantasy because that's what I know. And you can predict more or less of their fantasy score. So my predictions today, James Harden and Lauri Markkanen to score more than their projected fantasy points. They've both been balling and are playing horrible teams. And look, I love it because it just makes watching games that much more fun, and really that's what this is all about, is having fun. It's really easy to use, and if you use the promo code AMHOOPS, you get 100% deposit match up to $100. So if you deposit 100, they'll give you 100. Deposit 50, they'll give you 50. Use that code AMHOOPS because you get the deposit match and it lets them know that you came from me. So download Prize Picks, play daily fantasy sports, and make sure to use the promo code AMHOOPS when you sign up. Russ is hated on so much, it's actually over the top. At this point, he's a scapegoat because look at their roster. It's one of the worst in the league beyond their big two. The shooting is so bad, they rely on some guy named Matt Ryan for rotation minutes. He was barely in the G League last year. But what Russ did before going 0 for 11 is disturbing. In the last preseason game, Coach Darvin Ham chose to bench Russ, something Frank Vogel never had the guts to do. Then 5 minutes in, he left with a hamstring injury. And if you think that's bad luck, look at this. In Russ's entire career, he has never missed a game with a hamstring injury. This was like the fluke of all flukes, or was it? After the game, Russ had the nerve to blame Darvin Ham for what happened.
I've been doing the same thing for 14 years straight. Honestly, I didn't even know what to do pregame, but definitely wasn't something I wasn't used to, wasn't warm enough, and that's something that just I wasn't accustomed to.
That sounds like a calm and collected quote, but think about what he's actually saying. I can't come off the bench because I'll get injured? How did he ever survive a halftime? He blamed Darvin Ham for his injury. Now I get why Frank Vogel never did it. He knew Russ was capable of some outlandish stuff like this. But Ham is supposed to be different. He's supposed to be like a strong coach who doesn't tolerate any BS. So we came out and slammed Russ. Let me be clear with this. The Lakers, myself, my staff, we would in no way put a player or employee in harm's way. You have to be prepared for whatever your team needs you to do. And that's called being a professional. So however we choose to use him, there has to be willingness to sacrifice. Yeah, you take that, Russ. And then 2 days later, he just started it. What are we doing? You can't let him get away with this. Russ fakes an injury, blames it on the coach, and they let him have his way? Russ is holding this team hostage with his insecure attitude that we've seen now for years. ESPN's not allowed to say that, but I will. Kawhi Leonard had no problem coming off the bench. Steph Curry told Steve Kerr to let Jordan Poole start in the playoffs because Poole was playing so well. That is being a pro and a leader and putting team over self, which is not in Russ's DNA. So they have to trade Russ, obviously, and they have a plan. This summer, all of the offers centered around 2 first-round picks. But Adrian Wojnarowski is saying that they're going to hang on until at least late November to push for a new deal. I think LA's plan is to just hope that some star demands a trade so that they can swoop in. Maybe Damian Lillard? Actually, the Blazers look pretty good. Maybe Bradley Beal? That is such a dumb plan. There's like a 1% chance that that's going to happen. So it's a matter of time before Russ gets sent to the bench. And at that point, he will throw such a fit that LA has to make a choice. A, buy him out. B, send him home. Or C, make a trade. The demand that LA has in any trade is to preserve their cap space. They're going to have about $35 million this coming summer to add legit talent. And so to preserve that, they have to take somebody on an expiring contract, which really limits who they can get. Here's a list of the best players on the final year of their deal. So look at this list. Try to construct your own trade. There's an obvious problem. The players who are good enough here to win a title aren't available because their team's too good. But if they are available, they're not good enough to win a title. The first trade to look at is what Shams reported. LA is seriously interested in Terry Rozier from the Hornets. He shoots about 40% from 3, but has 3 years left on his contract, which kills their cap space. The Lakers would get Rozier, the Hornets get Russ, and a 2027 first. But that trade doesn't work money-wise. The only thing that works is the Lakers getting Rozier and Gordon Hayward. Or the Lakers getting Rozier, Kelly Oubre Jr. and Mason Plumlee. Either way, none of this really solves their issues. How is that any better than Miles Turner and Buddy Hield? I get it if the Hornets only wanted 1 first-round pick, but I am confused by this report. The Lakers' dream scenario would be for the Raptors to suck so bad that Fred VanVleet becomes available, or Kyrie. Bill Simmons suggested this. The Lakers get Kyrie and David Duke for salary. The Nets get Russ and the 2027 first-round pick. The Nets do this because Russ could be traded again in 2 months. So they would flip the pick and Russ again for a different winning player. The Lakers want Kyrie this summer anyway. They can fast-track that and help this season by sending out a first. The only way this works is if the Nets continue to lose and Kyrie is a part of the problem. But what about the Lakers getting Jordan Clarkson, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt, plus Kelly Olynyk for salary? The Jazz get Russ in both picks. But this is worth both picks. It surrounds LeBron and AD with shooting in Clarkson and Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt is a great young perimeter defender that GMs around the league love. Kelly Olynyk is partially guaranteed for just $3 million next year, so it barely eats into their cap space. The Jazz hate trading Vanderbilt, but it only makes them worse for Victor Wembanyama. And, dude, they are winning games. They're like panicking right now. They need to do a trade. The Laker picks they would get back are so valuable. And the beauty of this deal is all of those guys are on expiring contracts. So LA still would have flexibility next summer or re-sign anyone with bird rights. A less sexy option is the Lakers getting Josh Richardson, Jakob Poeltl, Romeo Langford. The Spurs getting Russ and the 2027 first. The Spurs are looking to tank this year, and LA takes all their random vets on expirings. Obviously, the dream would be to get shooters, but the idea of this trade is they get rid of Russ, get a few vets, and then keep the cap space. Poeltl's a great defensive center, which allows AD to play the 4. Every guy comes off the books, so the free agency plan still works. Buddy Hield and Miles Turner are more impactful, but Indy wants both first-round picks. I think this Spurs trade's a better deal. But I promised out of the box, so let's get crazy with a Raptors trade before I predict what's actually going to happen with Russell Westbrook. If Toronto wants to cash in their vets for a chance at Wembanyama, the Lakers would get Fred VanVleet, Otto Porter Jr., and Evan Fournier. The Raptors get Russ, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin, Quentin Grimes, and 4 first-round picks, and the Knicks get Pascal Siakam. For 2 All-Stars, Toronto gets good young players and 4 really valuable picks. And you might not think that's enough picks, but all picks aren't created equal. First from the Lakers and Knicks could easily end up in the top 3, and GMs know that. This will be a huge jump start to the Raps. The Knicks add Siakam to replace with Julius Randle when he leaves with better defense. The Lakers take on Fournier's money, yes, but they get 3 great shooters and a good defender in Van Vliet. But what will happen? I think Russ is going to get sent home to wait out the year. There's no great trades out there. You can see that. LA without Russ is better than LA with him. So if they're going to let his contract expire, suck, but have a bunch of money to spend next summer. I love making videos about like Russ and the Lakers, and I find those things really interesting, but also the underrated players in this league deserve to get talked about too. So I made a list of the most underrated player on every NBA contender. Check it out.